My name is Uzoamaka Igweike and I'm the founder of Loom Craft Chocolate. We are a cocoa bean processing company based in Abuja. So we work mostly with Nigerian produce and we transform Nigerian cocoa into chocolate bars, chocolate chips, chocolate spread and other cocoa-based products. So Loom Craft Chocolate was started basically to solve a problem of mine. I was working in tech as a tech consultant, but on the side, as with many Nigerians, I had a business, a home-based business, baking cakes. I absolutely love to bake and to work with chocolate, but getting good quality chocolate in Nigeria was so difficult, so difficult. And even when you found it, it was expensive. And it didn't make sense that we had all this cocoa around us and we weren't producing chocolate. So I decided to solve the problem for myself. In fact, my Google search term, I can't forget, is how to make chocolate at home, because I just wanted to make chocolate for myself. But, as I researched, I discovered that, this was a serious problem. I mean, not just in cocoa, but in all sectors of the economy. We're an oil-based economy, but even with that oil, we export and import the finished product. And the same rings true for a lot of Nigerian produce, for cashew, coffee. We export raw materials and import finished products. And in my research, I discovered that we're losing a lot of revenue because we weren't extending the full value of our raw materials and our produce. So that's when I decided to consider it as a business. But I was lucky to have been doing this research when Tony Elumelu was calling out for applications from entrepreneurs. So what I did was I applied, I pitched a business idea. I hadn't even made a bar of chocolate at the time, and they thought it was wonderful. That sort of validated the idea, and I now putting my time into research, into practicing, and a couple of years later, the business was born. So while I was researching on making cocoa at home, I realized that really I had all the ingredients and everything I needed to make cocoa. Basically, cocoa beans and sugar is all you need to make like really good chocolate. But there was one piece of equipment that I couldn't get. Every other thing I could find a Nigerian or a local alternative, but for the chocolate refiner. And during the time of this research, I was lucky enough to see a call for applications from Tony Elumelu Foundation, and then I applied for the grant. And it's not just the grant, right? There was also a 12-week training program that sort of opened my eyes to what the potential challenges may be and what I could expect from running a business. Yes, I was running a business, a cake business, but it was just a home business. Whenever I had the time, I did it. But the training program opened my eyes to what was needed for a structured business. And then, of course, the funding, the grants made a huge difference, because with the grant, I was able to buy the first piece of equipment, get cocoa, and so many other things. Research involves a lot of expenses, and the time that I would have spent on the research was sort of shortened because I had that funding. So that $5,000 was how I started the business. Okay, for stronger relationships with your customers, the most essential thing is communicating with them and basically asking them, what they would like to see. Yes, I started with my own idea of what the products should be, what they should look like. And, first of all, that's the first step. You need to go out with something that is attractive, and then you refine it over time based on your interactions with your customers. So I actually had 3 products when I started. They were basic chocolate bars, but upon interacting with the customers, I was able to develop more products. You take feedback, and very important is also like going through what is normally called a customer journey, right? You examine the critical points where you have interactions with your customers and ask yourself if the service that you're offering at those points leave the customer feeling satisfied or not. So if it does, you look for ways to improve it. If it doesn't, then you make changes, and in those communications with customers you find out that you're able to make improvements basically in your product, not just your product but also your service. Okay, so when you're trying to become an entrepreneur, the first thing to know, what I normally tell people, is you don't need to start with something that is perfect, right? You just need an idea, right? And you just need to test that idea to make sure that it is viable. For me, I sort of worked backwards in a way, right? You have an idea, you have a product. One thing that is very important is the values that you stand by as an entrepreneur, the values of your company, right? You need to be able to align those values with the product or the service you're offering. And if they are strong enough values, they will resonate with your customers, right? So it's not just about the product or the service, it's about that emotional connection with your customers. And once you establish it, then really, even with just an idea, you can already, should I say, recruit people that are loyal to you. So start with what you have. Try to find a reason for that business. Try to find a solution or a problem that you're solving with that product or service, and try to align them with values that resonate with your customers. So once you have these things in place, once you have these things aligned, then I think the sky is the limit for you.